Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TXAPA Live. My name is Jim Warren. I'll be your producer today, and we're excited to have everybody here today. We're going to go ahead and get started today with our program. I'd like to introduce to you Ted Flanigan. He is going to be our moderator. And Ted, glad to have you here, and welcome to TXAPA.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Welcome to everybody as well. As we get going here, what I'd like to do is first introduce our MTD folks that are here with us. So we have Enad, Mahmoud, as well as Pravat, Karki. And as we go into this process, the liquid asphalt sampling and testing program and kind of breaking it open, what I'd like to do before we start that is I'd like to go ahead and turn this over to you, Enad, and give you a chance to introduce one of our new guys here to the program. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about Pravat.
Sure. Thanks, Ted, and thanks, Jim, for bringing us up to here. And I really appreciate these opportunities to talk to the industry, talk to both binder suppliers as well hot mix and all our partners out there. Yes, I'm very happy to introduce Pravat Karki. He joined us in January. Second week of January, he's the new asphalt binder branch manager, and he's been he joined us from before that. He worked was working with the state of Texas at TTI. Before that, he was in Nebraska. I would say his whole career before this was all in binders and binder testing. We're very excited to have him. I know he's been in contact with a lot of suppliers and the districts, getting information out there, and he's been very tremendous help so far. So, Pravat, welcome to MTD and welcome to this joint effort with TXAPA and the suppliers, and I'm sure you will enjoy this relationship as we move forward.
Thank you, Enad, and thank you, Ted, also. For the first time, this is my meeting with TXAPA. I'm very excited to be involved, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce show my face so that whenever you see, you can contact me. As Enad covered a lot of things already. I joined here like January 11th, so that is makes 60 days actually. 60 days count. So very excited to be part of MTD and leading the asphalt binder branch as a manager here. Learning a lot of things, Enad here to support everything. But if you have any questions, concerns related to asphalt binder, please feel free to reach out to me by phone. My office number, you already have that hopefully. My email, and I'll try to get you answers or respond to you as soon as and as best as I can. And I will get back to Enad.
Well, that's fantastic.
You want to go ahead, Ted? Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I really, I appreciate it and welcome, and I look forward to this beginning process here. Really, what we're going to do is we're going to break open the liquid asphalt sampling and testing program itself, and it's going to be the three of us, and we're going to kind of interact off of each other. But basically, there's really two major phases to this process. You have the liquid binders. Suppliers, that's what I'm going to represent, the various steps that we go through, and I would like to go ahead and open that up and explain that. And then through that process is how we interact with MTD, with the whole sampling process, the monthly, the information we share on a monthly basis on our quality control. So this is just going to be really a very comfortable and a very relaxed format, and it gives us a chance to kind of break it open. And what I like to do, though, is give everybody else an opportunity to kind of look in a little bit more into really what we take for granted. When we're in it all day long, every day, we just assume everybody knows pretty much everything that's going on. And nobody can until, you get a chance to get exposed to it. So this will be a little bit of an exposure. Not very much, but a little bit. And welcome. And hopefully, as we go through this process towards the end, we'll get a chance to open it up to anybody who may have any questions or would like to have some clarity as well. So what I like to do is just start off with the fact that The whole liquid asphalt sampling and testing program actually is all started about, how do we qualify our materials that are coming into the state that are going out on these projects. And it starts with us suppliers. What we do is we submit to MTD a written format that follows basically the Texas 545 specification, explaining how we do our own internal quality control and quality assurance sampling and testing. And then from there, what we do at that point is with that sheet, it gives them a complete breakdown as far as what our facilities looks like, and we have to do it for every facility. So there's some suppliers that have multiple facilities. Some suppliers only has one, but this has to be done for every facility. And what it does is it breaks down our tank setup, our types of products, our product mixes, our process, whether it's blending, inline blending, tank blending, our modifications that we do, everything's listed out in this process. And then what happens is that TxDOT reviews it, MTD, and through the reviewing process, they may have some questions. They may have need to get some clarity, or they may ask for some more clarity in our documentation. And then we go back and forth until we get that to where everybody's 100% comfortable with the process. The follow-up step to that is that MTD will come out and do an audit. And what that audit does is they go to the facility to make sure that we are actually doing what we claim we're going to do on that piece of paper. And it's more than a piece of paper. It's more like a booklet that we give them. And it gives them a chance to go out there and review each of our facilities to make sure that we are in compliant with that Texas 545C specification. Then at that point, and unfortunately, and this is something I'd like to go ahead and make sure everybody understands, is that the auditing process was really initiated last year. And we're going into our second full year with this specification being implemented. Unfortunately, COVID happened. And so there was only a couple, and not maybe it's more than two, but I thought there was only two locations that actually got audited. And then COVID happened, the lockdown happened, and it hasn't been reinstated yet. Hopefully soon here we'll see that happen, and that final step in the approval process will be completed for everybody. But from that point, what us suppliers do then at that stage is that we have our list of products that we produce for every location. And what we do is that we have to provide a sample of every product that we want to make sure that is certified for shipping for each month. At every month, we have to provide a sample to MTD for testing. Along with that sample, we also provide a certificate of analysis. And that allows MTD to look at our test data, and then they also test it to make sure that the material is in compliant. One, does it meet the specs? Two, how close are we meeting up? How well are we correlating between our two labs? And what's important about that whole process is that a lot of people don't understand is that for some companies, that is a lot of samples. For my company in itself, I think we have 21 products that we will certify, and that in itself, or 27, that's a lot of samples that have to happen. Well, what ends up taking place is that a third-party entity is involved, Pavements, a CEI group that'll come out and witness the sampling process. For some companies that have inline blenders, the blending process is done so that you match up with what is used as far as on the percentages that go into the blender. And all those samples are gathered up, they're properly labeled, and the Pavements folks, then it's their responsibility to properly seal the container, the package, and send it off to MTD for the testing. That testing then is done, and it's also shared back to each of us suppliers at our different locations. If there's any discrepancies, we're given an opportunity to make some adjustments or resubmit if possibly a sample might have broken in the process if it was emulsion, or we just got a bad sample, or whatever it may be. We have an opportunity to resubmit so that we can get that material in there and we have everything lined up. The important thing here is that we give TxDOT MTD an opportunity to really see what we're doing. And it also gives us an opportunity as suppliers to make sure that our lab is correlating closely with the state's lab. And so that we know that when I get a certain value when I'm running original DSR or RTFO DSR on a PG graded material, that my values are going to be very similar to the values that are going to be gotten over at MTD lab. And that's very important because we want to make sure we're all speaking the same language, so to speak. And that's just an ongoing process. And what's important about that, it's a monthly process. So it constantly gives us the opportunity to really see exactly where we're at and to be able to make those adjustments. Then the final thing that we do is before the next month samples are pulled for the ongoing certification process, we supply MTD a template with all our quality control testing that we say we're going to do. Remember, in our booklet, when we give that out, we're stating that we are going to test and we're going to do quality control and quality assurance testing, and all that is put into a database. And Enad and the group over there has done a fantastic job of creating a template so that we're all working with a very similar piece of paper, or I should say database or Excel spreadsheet right now, that we can download all our information, and then it gives MTD an opportunity to look at that, compare to our testing, and then at any time, it gives them a chance to even cross-compare it or cross-reference it to possibly any field samples that come in. At that point, those are the things that we do as suppliers to get into, first of all, to be qualified and to maintain our certification process to ship materials into TxDOT and TxDOT projects. From that point, then what I'm going to do is just turn it over to my MTD group and let them kind of explain how they do, what all they do on their end to follow through on the process as we maintain this quality control.
Yeah, thanks. That was you covered it very, very well. Just a couple of things I wanted to add. It's not a piece of paper, your QC, the QC plan. It is a booklet.
Yeah.
It's a folder, I would say, at least. And yes, we were only able to visit 2 sites last year, as you mentioned. So it's 2. The number 2 is correct, unfortunately. And hopefully this will resume at some point when we're able to and when it's safe to do so. So hopefully that will continue soon. But the most important thing, just to emphasize what you've said here, I just want the districts, TxDOT outside of MTD to know that, the suppliers here, they're not just randomly getting these certificates. Like Ted mentioned, they have a QC plan that lists everything they do, almost. We do verify it through the audits that we're going to do or did, as well as collecting their monthly samples with a certificate of analysis that with full spec testing that we also compare to what we test in the lab as well. And then finally, the QC data that's we just finalized that template so everyone is submitting the data in the same format, and someone like Ted would appreciate that because he knows that then now we can really, when it's the same format, then we're able to dig in and do analysis and look and compare numbers, and like he mentioned. So from our side, the critical part that we deal with is what Ted also mentioned. They have 21 samples, products. Maybe that's in the winter, and I think you mentioned 27. I'm assuming that's in the summer. So, and that's one location. We have about currently active. At one point, we had over 70 suppliers, 5 different states. We now currently, I think we're close to 50 suppliers that are active and supplying materials. We get about 250, that will be the minimum. That's during the winter. different products, suppliers, combinations, that shoots up to almost 300 during the summer. So
that's a lot of samples.
The process is very involved. And as the other thing that Ted mentioned too is that the suppliers are location. They're not. Each location is on its own. So if a certain supplier have 3-4 locations, and they supply the same material, we're going to get that material from all different locations because it's a different process. It's a different tanks. It's different everything, and so. So we do collect all these samples, and as Ted also mentioned, we have Pavements witnessing the sampling, and if it's inline blending, they witness the blending in the lab. So the process is very detailed, and the one thing I want to emphasize, and I think Ted would appreciate that the suppliers that get that certificate number, they're not getting. We don't hand them out. I just want to clarify that the suppliers go through a lot of testing internally. We test every product every month. We get the QC data, and we're hopefully with this new format, we'll be able to look and provide feedback to the suppliers as we go. So I just want to emphasize that the process is very detailed, very ironed down, and we're very happy, honestly, with the back and forth with the suppliers. The relationship has been great. They've been very cooperative and willing to share. And I do believe everyone here or on here wants the best product out for the projects.
Absolutely. You know, and one of the things that has been helping folks in the field when you're talking about helping the industry understand contractors, the districts, and things like that, that's when the dashboard came out that you guys came out with last year towards the end of the year. And that has been a great start to allow access to the data. At this point, though, the dashboard is real basic. It's going to say pass or fail based upon producer, location, product, and the time or the date stamp. And whether it is a monthly sampling or if it's a field sampling, I believe in the field sampling, it actually says the location as well. Am I correct or not on that?
No, it does not still be which county or district, no.
Okay.
No, not.
And what it'll do is that it'll just give you a quick indicator. You can really tell by colors whether it's a pass or it's a fail. Unfortunately, yet, and this is what I said at the very beginning when I first saw it, I said, this is fantastic, but I want all the information. Because what it is, it's a great tool to help all of us, suppliers, contractors, and as well as the DOT, especially at the district level, to be able to communicate, openly communicate and talk about any potential issues they may be seeing in the field or questions they may have. Hey, by the way, I looked on the dashboard and I saw a failure. What's this about? It allows us to go ahead and commence to have a communication. And to me, for us to have true quality in the state across the board from beginning to end on our products and everything, we've got to have open communication. And that's the reason why, you know, the major associate members, we were open. We were very open to this process. We were open to the fact that we were the first ones to do it because it's about being transparent. Quite frankly, we're proud of what we do. We work hard at what we do. And we're more than proud to show everybody all the work we're doing to give you guys the highest quality that you possibly can get out there. And that it's an ongoing process. And so that communication helps us to continue that process and to give everybody a better understanding. Going forward, somewhere along the line, hopefully a system can handle it. I would love to see all the testing data put out there, just so that people can see very specifically what may be the issue. And then it helps them drill down when they're doing their own forensics out there in the field, because that's really what quality is all about. One, find out if we have any inconsistencies. What do we do about those inconsistencies? really what is it that we're seeing as a problem, and then make the adjustments so that we can get back on track and maintain that quality level like we all want.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually one of the reasons, or one of the things that we're very happy with the feedback we got from the major associates on when I put that dashboard. You never know what the reaction you're going to get back. You're putting results out there. It's only pass fail, but yet still it's out there. It's public now. So that information has been helpful. As you mentioned, we are looking into getting more data out. Of course, that's going to go through the process like we've done before. But that's just giving districts or contractors the ability to go and look and see, I'm getting this material from this supplier of this location, and they can look at the history and see what happened last year, right? Or what happened last 2 months, or if I'm a district and my sample failed, was this a one-off, or did it, so just to give everyone the opportunity to look and see what's going on, maybe make decisions if they want to make decisions. I know I got some suppliers looking at their own data and asking questions about it too. So I think it's a win-win for everyone to have that data out, to have the transparency, like you mentioned, and we're very happy with the feedback we got from the suppliers, major associates, and being so transparent and willing to share that data and asking for more. So it's a pleasant surprise, and we're definitely going to work with the major associates to, if possible, get more helpful information for everyone that will make sense to share, on the public website.
You bet. And we also, as far as liquid suppliers, part of the major associates group, we also want to make sure people understand the openness that we've gotten feedback from you guys at MTD, and to the point where, as any new spec or as any new program is started, there's going to be kinks and there's going to be gaps and there's going to things that need to be ironed out. And you guys have been very, very receptive to all our input, and we really appreciate that. You guys have been so receptive that we're part of a continuing evaluation process. A work group is what we're calling it, a liquid asphalt working group, and that we're going to meet on a regular basis so that we can go ahead and continue to address any issues that may be out there or concerns, so that we can get this thing dialed in as tight and as laser accurate as possible, because that's how we're going to get the quality we need to have out there, and to be able to have that properly, communicated out there to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a continuous process. I don't think we will ever say we accomplish, mission accomplished. That's never going to happen because it's a continuous, continuous feedback between the two sides, MTD, the suppliers, as well as the districts, as we want to, we're trying to make sure the sampling processes are done correctly, the materials are shipped in time and all that. But it's always going to be a continuous process. And as you said, we're going to continue to get it as as laser tight as we can to be 100% to the spec. Everyone's following the same procedure. Everyone is, getting their everyone is having having their voice heard, as long as and we're making sure that everything is followed and it makes sense to everyone. But it's a continuous process, and I don't see, to me, the relationship between a DOT and a suppliers is ongoing. It will never end. It will never die. It will continue. There's always going to be a discussion on a new spec or a new material or a new test and so on. So we're in this. I think for the long run.
Absolutely, and we appreciate that. Because it's a cooperation. It's a teamwork, and we definitely have an excellent team here between all of us, and to keep moving forward on that. And that's, to me, is that's golden. You know, that's a lot of places don't have that. And so I'm very proud about that, especially being here in Texas with it, what we do, and to continue to set the standards for other people to try to copy with what we're doing here. One thing that I would think I would like for us to have an opportunity to do real quickly is that you made the comment you could have anywhere from 250 to 300 plus samples brought in every month. That's just on the monthly quality control testing, or I should say recertification testing. Out of those samples, how many tests is that really that you're running? Because you're not doing one test per sample.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's because a lot of times when some samples sent, then it's a handful sample, so it's one test. No, it's not. So you're talking about the average would be maybe 7-8 tests per sample. So you can do the math. That's about 2,500 tests a month. And this is only the recertification samples. On average, if you take a year average, it's a plus 500 samples a month that we receive. And that equates to very close to 4,000 tests a month. I can, I'm trying to remember the exact number. I know we broke the 45,000 tests last year, for sure. I think we got 50, but I don't want to misspeak or misrepresent the number. But the number is very high, number of tests. Each sample gets tested, as you know, for safety, for construction properties, and for long-term performance. So it's a lot of tests, absolutely, yes.
That's amazing. And then what you were saying, though, the ratio between the monthly recertification and the field samples, like a 1-to-1 ratio then on what you're getting in each month?
Eventually, yes. On average, yes. It's very similar to, in the summertime, we'll get more project than QM. In the winter, it slows down a little bit. But I wouldn't say it slows down. But, for certain grades, it slows down for certain material that you can only use in the summer or can't use in the winter and stuff like that. But eventually, as last year, it was almost very close. I would say we get more. It's very close. It's very close. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of samples. That's awesome.
Hey, just a big plug in to make sure everybody's sampling and documenting and labeling and doing all that right. Because if something gets out of whack in there's so many samples running through there. So Enad, you had just released some additional guidance on the document for sampling and labeling. I'd like to refer everybody to that. We'll have that up on our website shortly, and you can catch it on the DOT website as well. So take a look at that. Remember, we talked about adding the bill of lading in there. Ted, you may want to mention that real quick.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns we had as suppliers, is that if there's ever a question in the field on a field sample and there's a failure test result that's coming back, for us to help with the forensics process, we always have to have the bill of lading reference number so that we can go back to the very specific sample that was pulled for that truck that was shipped out. And then it allows us to be able to, if that truck hadn't been sampled or tested that day, we can pull that retained sample, run the test, and then provide the data at the point of shipment so that we have another step of information to give everybody as much of a clear picture of what this product is. And again, one of the things we've talked about before is that, a sample is only good as how well you pulled that sample. So good, proper sampling techniques is imperative. And then also labeling. We actually had we shipped an emulsion and it got tested as a cutback. So, because it got mislabeled. And those are the things that happen sometimes. So those are other things that we all collectively are working on to make sure that we keep everything moving forward and it's truly representative of what's being received out there in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. That's labeling it's a great point you bring up, Jim and Ted. As Jim mentioned, we published the latest version of the asphalt binder sampling and guide. assembling inspection guide. It talks about a little bit more information that we would like everyone to have in the site manager, is to put the BOL number, as Ted mentioned, and that location we're asking for, and that will make sure that that number will make it actually to the report that gets sent out. So the supplier can immediately try to figure out where did this come from. Labeling and mislabeling, yep, that's it slows everyone down. If it's labeled incorrectly, either we're going to have to stop and try to figure out, go back and try to reach out to people and get that answer back. Or like Ted mentioned, sometimes if you have two emulsions and they look like emulsions and then it's labeled the wrong grade, we're going to test it. Probably it's going to fail.
Yep.
But we're able to test it because it's an emulsion and all emulsions look the same. They all can be tested. However, CRS2B compared to CHFRS2B or compared to other emulsions, it's different specs and different properties, and it might fail just because it was labeled wrong. And then, for some materials, it's difficult to go back and retest after the fact. When you send the report and it comes back to say, oh, this material is different, well, we don't have leftover. And if it's an emulsion, it's opened already 2-3 weeks ago. It's tough to retest it, and then we go back into either ask for a storage sample or the split sample. So if you do it right the first time, you'll save your time. You'll get the better results the first time instead of going back and forth. So absolutely, the labeling with all the correct information is very, very important.
Excellent. Well, Jim, are we about out of time?
Yeah, we're wrapping it up there. I think good discussion today, guys. Really, some really good information. I'll let you say.
Again, I want to just thank everyone for participating in this TXAPA Live. And just as important, thank you, Enad and Pravat, for being a part of this. Look forward to having many, many more. And I promise you, we'll give you a lot more time to talk. It was a great start, and look forward to continuing this process, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I think we had a longer list to go through, so we definitely can do this again. Absolutely.
Excellent.
We'll be glad to have you back. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good.
All right. Here we go. Just a little closeout here, a little bit. Just a reminder that, again, thanks to Ted Flanigan and Enad Mahmoud and Pravat Karki for their program today. Next week on the 18th, we're still in binders. We're going to be talking about proper materials usage application, tax, PG binders, and emulsion. We'll have Chuck Fowler with us and Tom Flowers with Ergon to help us out with the program. So in the meantime, be safe out there. We're glad to have everybody with us, and we'll see you soon. So have a great day and take care. Bye-bye now.